Hi everybody, welcome back to A Story of Complicated Kindness with me, Kelly Anderson. Today I want to take a step back and dissect something before we get into the real issue, which is bullying. I'm a huge advocate for anti-bullying. Not just because I was a victim as a kid, but because the older I get, the more I realize how common it is. And not only is it affecting our youth, it's affecting our attitudes towards each other. And I've been talking about for weeks all these self-help ideas, and this is an issue that's global and people can actually grasp. So I think we need to see the different highlights. It's not just these kids on the playground that are bullying each other. I think adults, in a sense, have become hypocritical by their behavior, and we're putting these ideas to our kids that it's so much easier, turn the other cheek, tell somebody, when in fact, as adults, we bully each other all the time. What is a bully? Someone who's aggressive by nature, to step on someone, to make themselves feel better by putting other people down. This can be physical, this can be verbal, this can be emotional, and we do this all the time as adults. A lot of times in the work field, a boss to an employer, co-workers to co-workers, and it can be something so simple as a daily responsibility and forcing someone else to do it. If you don't do this, I'm going to. There's always an ultimatum attached, a threat. A bully is someone who likes the threat, and it could be coded. It doesn't have to be you're going to be really hurt by the end of the situation. It could be like, okay, well, if that's the decision you want to make, maybe you're not going to work out here. That is a threat. And it happens more often than not. And I'm, as an adult, starting to realize that dynamic that people bring to the table. Where did we come in the successful stories that hierarchy is our attribute to success? I think often we think that anybody who is on the top is this alpha dog, someone who doesn't take shit, who keeps fighting for what they want. And you know what, that might be great for the work itself, but what about all the other people in the process who are being affected by it? I bring this up because I was recently bullied by a coworker to make a decision that I wasn't ready to. All I kept thinking when this conversation was flowing, that it's my life and my decision, and you don't like my answer, well, I'm sorry. Don't force me to disappear. And that's when I started realizing the wrong conversationalists that are inside of us. And I realized these scare tactics are a way to get what we want. And it happens all the time. I explained the coworker relationship, but think about relationships. Not abuse, not sexual assault in a relationship, domestic abuse. Ignore those. I'm talking about how we have a difference in personalities. One might be a little bit more passive, one might be a little bit more aggressive, but the aggressive person uses forms of threat. I'm not going to go to this if you don't do this. Again, the ultimatums come up. My whole point is that I think we're being hypocritical to our youth. If we're not being nice to each other and we're not bullying, how do we expect our youth to learn? Why don't we practice what we preach? I think there's a lot of steps that we need to take to get to this new form. It Gets Better is a great concept, but what gets better? I would really like to know, further than the GLBTQ community, where It Gets Better is like the prominent demographic. But how do we stop this in a professional world? How do we humanize each other once again? I don't have to step on you to get my way. I don't have to be an asshole to be successful. And that's all that matters. In my situation, I was right. My heart was right. And I'm sorry if she didn't like my decision. My apologies. then maybe that's where the relationship ends. But all I can say is, I'm not going to be bullied. I am strong enough, I know enough, and you should know me that I am going to fight back. Never physically. I will fight back with my passion, and you will come to understand the threats don't work on me.